we were little, young.
Let's go.
All right. So, back at home, where it all started.
You miss this?
I miss when we were younger.
Yeah.
How much fun we had.
Yeah.
It's like
This before anybody was anything. This when it was everything was just still innocent. But you know it's crazy. I mean, we'll get to it, but we ain't even realize how much racism was around us way back then.
No.
Looking at how it is now.
But then what kept us out of that shit was we played sports.
Facts.
And they love how we did things. So we got maybe, I don't know, special privileges or something. But I wouldn't change nothing.
No doubt. I mean, everything we went through from this to what all we went through, the transition, it was needed, most definitely needed to become who we are. I wouldn't change it either. None of it. I mean, everything, even the prison.
Yeah.
A lot of that played a lot of part in sharpening up the man I am today. The men we are today.
It's just the fact that, we're back in St. Anne and just...
Didn't this street seem hella longer back then, man?
Everything seemed bigger and longer back then.
This motherfucker small.
We were little kids.
Like Bradley and them stayed right here in the middle.
Gabe was over there. Gabe and Rick was over
there.
there.
Yeah, right there.
Mr. Casey, the owner, was stayed up there.
This motherfucker seemed so damn small, but you could see, you could see the love in it when you 6 years old, 7 years old, 5 years old. Out here ripping and running, everything was seen.
Yeah.
Huge out here.
I do miss it. I don't miss the police bullshit, but I do miss the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And
this first window up top is mama window, right?
Right.
These the living room. Is the side one living room? Is it the basement window too,
the
right?
The side and the living room and the front was living room. The basement's downstairs.
And the back window was the bathroom and us.
And us. And the kitchen was in the back.
Yeah, sure was. So, damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Just the fact that we're back here and a lot of good memories.
It is.
We had more good memories than bullshit memories.
Facts. I mean, mama was mama, man. She made sure we was good. She made sure we had what we needed. She made sure we ain't want for a motherfucking thing. And like I said, even being in a dominant European setting, she still provided as a single black mother. She made everything happen for us. Ping pong table set up on the side right here.
Yeah. All them trees was going. It's a big
but no tree, just a hill. Swing set in the back.
You play basketball on it?
Yeah.
Bro, I slammed down, hit my damn head on that
the monkey bar part. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's good to be back, man.
Yeah.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
I got a lot of work up on my plate, and I'ma get it all till the clock stops ticking. Forget the pain of yesterday, and she was slow, you know how you are. Wake up and go get it, live life with no limits. Every time they put me in a box, I bust it down. Too much time upon the clock, so I'ma bust it down. Ain't no waiting for the moment, cause the time is now. I'm with my brothers like Malcolm and Newton, and we split the racks in the middle. Big bro, you been ballin', so we was just tellers, you know it ain't no silliness. These girls in the library, they looking for love, you know it ain't no feelings. Searching for warmth in my heart, but lately it feel like the middle of winter. Every time I get back up, they wanna let me down. My granny asked me why I put that smoke up in the clouds. They always saying, woke, but they be sleeping, know what's round. Just maintain focus, keep my knees upon the ground. I put my soul and my heart in this. The clouds, they left us in darkness, yeah. But I knew what it was when I started it. Yeah. So now they ain't no turning back. You know I ain't got time to lack. I gotta get to the racks. And I cannot deny. I gotta keep it a G.
All right. What's going on, people? This is the Wolf of Ball Street podcast. So welcome.
Appreciate
you. The opportunity to come sit down with this brother who I've heard about over the years. I got a lot of family that's part of several different cultures that you touch. Never knew it was the same person. But there's a legendary story here, right? And then there's also some trials and tribulations and, you know, a level of overcoming, if that's a good word we can use to get to where you are now, which is on the journey. So we got the invitation to come into the, is it the den or the lair?
It's the lair.
All right, we are in the wolf's lair, right? And so I appreciate you having us.
Appreciate you.
We talked about doing this in a couple of different locations, but this just felt like the most authentic place to be. So thank you for having us. Thank you for agreeing to do this podcast.
No problem.
I know you ain't a man of a whole lot of words, but when words are needed, you got them, right?
Yes,
so I appreciate you being in here.
Yes, sir.
So let's just start with what's the most obvious thing in this shot right now, other than me and you. Let's talk about the bling. Tell me what we got going on right here.
So this is my accomplishments for playing professional softball. I got a total of 60 World Series rings, but there's only 56 that's in the case. 4 of them I had to give away. One was to my godfather, who passed away, who treated me like a son. So I put one of my rings in his casket to go with him to go see Jesus. And the other ring, my mother passed away December 9th this year. She got cremated, so the ring with her, because she taught me how to play softball. She brought it to my game, brought it to my attention.
Wow.
And the other 2 rings, I was on hard times back in the early 2000s, and I pawned 2 of my rings and tried to get my rings back, but they went out of business. They left, so it is what it is. But I have a total of 60 World Series rings. So
that's what's up, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a lot of accomplishment.
Yeah.
In here, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I commend you on that.
Appreciate it.
All right. So since you have allowed us to come into the lair, right? Talk to me, man, and talk to the people, right, about your journey in sports, about what led you to pick up a baseball and then a softball.
Wow, man, that's a great question. My mother, she played softball. My dad also played sports, but I basically remember my mother playing when I was like 6 years old, and we was a military family, so we was in Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Okay.
And I remember my mother's pitching, just little things like that. Then I started playing t-ball.
Yeah.
And when we moved back to St. Louis, my mother kept me and my brother in sports.
Yeah.
We were young, between the ages 7 all the way up to maybe 15, 16, all the way to high school.
Yeah.
And it just stuck with us, stuck with me.
Yeah.
It saved my life, kept me out of trouble per se, and I just loved the game. That's all I knew was baseball. Also played football and basketball, but baseball I excelled better in it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
it's fair to say that sports helped navigate life. Sports is a part of it. I grew up playing sports.
Yeah.
So I definitely know the power of it all, right?
Yeah.
Now, usually when you do a podcast, right?
Well, this is my first one, so
okay. And so we gonna figure it out together, right? Because this is my first one moderating, right?
There you go.
But I know usually you introduce the guest, but you ain't a guest, right?
Right.
This is your podcast. I am moderating it today, and there are gonna be other moderators, way more qualified than me.
It's all good.
Probably better looking too. But I want them to hear from you, man, about your accomplishments, right? Usually that would be the host or the moderator's job to introduce the guest. But like I said, you're not the guest, man. Run down your sports resume, man.
Wow. I might forget a few, but I'm just gonna give you the major ones that I know.
Okay.
As of February 2026, I'll be a 4-time Hall of Famer in softball. Hall of Fame in Florida, Hall of Fame in Missouri, Hall of Fame in the Black Circuit, and I'll be a Hall of Famer in February in St. Louis. So there's never been a such thing as a 4-time Hall of Famer in any sport. So that itself is to me is an honor, as well as many other ball players, as well as people recognizing and giving me my flowers, as they say.
Yeah.
I got 60 World Series rings, as you already know. I got my own signature bat.
Yeah.
I'm the only black ball player in the state of Missouri that's ever had a signature bat in his name, ever. I was a sponsored Adidas ball player, as well as a Mikan ball player, contract player. Got over 20 type medal rings.
Yeah.
I mean, medals that I played for. And like I said, I went out with a bang with winning my senior Olympic gold medal last year. I just retired.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. And I'm just to see all these ball players swinging my bat all over the country, it's an honor. It touches the heart when you see somebody, especially they be successful with the bat, that there is an honor in your name.
Yeah.
And I can't do nothing but, like I said, salute those players. I appreciate you being there for me and standing up for me through everything. And I heard things. I heard that you all saluted me and protected me, and I appreciate that. The ones that's out there. Another thing, being the only black ball player in 2012 in the majors.
Yeah.
The highest level of softball you can play is called the major leagues, and I was the number 8 hitter in the country in 2012.
That's what's up.
Just doing my thing, man.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. So out of all the things that you just mentioned, and I'm sure, because I'm looking at your other walls that y'all can't see, he did leave some stuff out. Is there one thing that you could pinpoint, one accomplishment that you can pinpoint, and you would say, this is the moment that is the biggest moment for me?
Well, that's easy. I mean, 2012 being the only black ball player in the majors I feel like I can definitely comprehend a little bit of what Jackie Robinson went through, but I know it was a lot worse than his time.
Yeah.
But I can definitely understand the pressure that he had to go through. But with me, I knew that I had to represent for people that look like me, just to open up that door for others to come in.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me, man, how did you handle the pressure? And I'm human, pressure's always going to be a factor, but when you're mentally strong, you be like, man, pressure's being in front of a judge. It's just softball.
Yeah.
And when you work on your craft so much in practice, you make it look easier in the game because you work so hard in practice.
Yeah.
And I knew that they can get rid of me with a snap of a finger, but I knew that I had to be twice as good as them to keep me.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a great thing. And all of a sudden we got great ball players that's playing in the softball majors now. That's brothers like Tony Mack, Rodney Donaldson, Phil, Mike. It's just a whole bunch of them. And, I can't do nothing but salute them. And some guys say I opened up the door for them. If I did, I appreciate it. And I'm keep on pushing it. Even though I'm retired, I'm still a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. So we got a good foundation of, your sports history. We're gonna come back to that later, right? Can I take a turn right now?
Let's do it.
All right. Like I said, we're gonna be honest on this podcast. We're gonna talk about things that are uncomfortable. This podcast is a redemptive story. It's a redemptive arc. And sometimes you got stuff, man, that you don't need to be redeemed for, but you need to talk about it and get it out there, because I think one of the things that plagues our society right now is, especially, when it comes to athletes and entertainers, is how easy it is to catch labels just because of having relationships that didn't work out. Right. Or parents that didn't want the relationship to work out. Right. And then they turn it into something else. Right. So talk to me, man, about, if you don't mind, about that moment in your life where you, as an elite athlete, one of the top 2 or 3 athletes in the country, that had to deal with an issue. Talk to me about that.
Well, 1986. So I wasn't really standout superstar in the country, but I was a superstar in Missouri as a high school baseball player. But it's happened in 1986. I'm a junior in high school. I went to Berkeley High School, and I'm dating different type of girls in high school. So I met my girlfriend. Her name was Carrie, and she was a freshman. I met her at the bonfire because I think she went to Winston High School, and she was a freshman. I met her at the age of 16, so I want to definitely get that out the way. I was 16 when I met my 13-year-old girlfriend. She was a freshman. I was a junior. Um, she would have been 14, like I don't know, like end of that year, and I just turned 17 the month we got caught having sex by her father. So basically, what happened was this: Carrie's family went out of town, to vacation, whatnot. So Carrie threw a house party, and so we went all hanging out at her house, doing what we do as kids. And me and her were going to the bedroom, started having sex. The music is playing in the background, and so the kids, they are doing their thing. So I didn't hear anything else because I'm in my zone and with my lady. I didn't know that the music stopped. I didn't know none of that stuff.
Right.
So next thing I know, the door busted open, and it's her father. So I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So him and I started fighting. I'm 17 years old at the time because I just turned 17 when this happened. My birthday is May 17, 1969. We got caught having sex June of 86. So we started hustling, fighting out here, carrying the background, telling us both to stop, like that. I get out the house. That was a Saturday. So that Monday, back at school, I remember, how you got those PA systems in the classroom, and it's kind of funny to think about it now. Is when they announce your name on the PA to come to the office, and all the kids like, ooh, they get in trouble.
Yeah.
I was really in trouble, but I didn't know what the fuck I did to get called to the office. So I get called to the office, and as soon as I walk into the office, I see 2 St. Charles police officers. So I'm like, okay, they got to be talking about the fight I had with the dude, her father. I had no idea, no clue that they were going to be asking about me and my girl, and not a smudge a bit about it. Because like I said, as a 16, 17-year-old kid in high school, nobody educated me to say, you're not supposed to date somebody that's younger than 17.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this matter of fact, this was 39 years ago. So I'm gonna say almost 40 years ago. And so they asked me about my relationship with Carrie, and I told them, yeah, I was honest about it.
Yeah.
So make a long story short, they tried to charge me with rape because her father was pressing the issue. And come to find out later in the game, her father was part of the KKK. He was an enforcer for a clan called the White Knights or the White Lightning or something like that.
Yeah.
But I found that out later in the game.
Yeah.
So that good old boy network was really working.
Yeah.
Especially in St. Charles and Winsville, if you're familiar with those 2 cities. So the judge, it's just kind of crazy. His name is David Dalton. Now you remember Jesse James, the James gang?
Yeah.
David Dalton, you remember the Dalton gang?
Yeah.
Yeah, his family's inherited. Yeah. So it was pretty kind of, it was wild, man.
Yeah.
But David Dalton gave me an opportunity. He said, I'm gonna give you 5 years probation because I know you got an opportunity to play professional baseball. So he tried to save my life.
Yeah.
But Mr. Dalton didn't know that I was living 2 different lives in one body.
Yeah. And we're gonna come back to that.
Man.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna come back to that.
And so I'm on 5 years probation. They told me if you walk down your 5 years probation, they telling me this as a 17-year-old kid. If you walk down your 5 years probation, this won't be on your record. It'll be expunged. You won't, So I'm thinking, I really didn't feel like I did anything wrong, but I pled no contest, which they said was kind of say you plead guilty.
Yeah.
So it went from rape to statutory rape, then they changed it again to sexual assault, then they changed it again to sexual abuse. So like I said, they changed it so many. Like I said, I didn't know the law. I don't know. I just knew that I didn't want to go to prison.
Yeah.
So I snatched out 5 years probation.
Yeah.
So that's why I got in trouble. So the thing is, if you Google my name, it'll say I'm 20 years old and she was 15. I was 20 years old when I went to prison because I did 3.5 years on probation.
Yeah.
She was 13, and by the time I got caught up, right before I turned 21, she was 15. That's the thing on the computer and in the Google network, but that's not the age it happened when I got in trouble.
Yeah. So let's get a point of clarity here real quick, because I want to be transparent. Like when I was first introduced to your situation, I had to do a level of research.
Of course.
Right. Which I did, and I talked to some lawyer friends of mine, right? We even have a judge that you guys probably, very prominent judge, you probably hopefully will hear from through this podcast. And we all landed on the same page. And it really was as simple as if you go to the same high school, right? The law in Missouri says that there can be no consent at 14. And I found out through my research that in Illinois, it's 17, right? So a 17-year-old girl, and being a Christian man, I advocate abstinence until you reach that age. But the reality of the situation is that kids are having sex. Right? They are. Kids are having sex. I was 14, 15, 16 at one time. I was a freshman in high school. My girlfriend was older than me, right? And so by the letter of the law, everybody should be in jail, or a healthy portion of all high school students are pushing the line, male and female.
Well, the thing is, like now, the law is if you're 17, you're considered as a minor in Missouri law.
Yeah.
At 17.
Yeah.
And I was 17 when this happened.
Yeah.
But I was 16 when I met her.
Yeah.
So it's just damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah.
So, but by all that being said, I know there were crazy rumors out there about me. Wolf was 40 years old, the girl was 13, Wolf was 50 years. No. The truth is that's not happening. Not even close. So, but those are the ones that it's gonna listen to gospel in the wind. They're just gonna keep on carrying that gospel. That's why we're struggling right now as Black people.
Yeah. And it is I commend you, man, on being willing to talk about it in such a vulnerable, naked way.
I mean, not to cut you off, but even my probation officers, even my parole officer, all of them told me, man, you're not no sex offender. You just had a fucked up situation. When you hear that from professional people, it validates, okay, I know I messed up. And the biggest thing is we're just going to keep it at 100.
Yeah.
I'm Black, she white.
Yeah.
And everybody kept saying, well, if she was a Black girl, we won't even be talking about this.
Yeah.
I get it. But when you're young, you don't look at color. You just look at what you like.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. 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 So you were 13. She was 16 when the relationship started.
No. I was 16. She was 13.
That's what I meant. Let me correct that. She was 13. You were 16. Essentially a freshman and a junior.
Yes, sir.
In high school, right? Your age moved up a year before her age moved.
Right.
Right. And so by the letter of the law, because things were pressed and pushed, you now have to live your life on the sex registry.
Yeah. I've been a registered sex offender for 39 years. I was exempt from registering in 2009. So that means I didn't have to register no more. So the laws changed again in 2000 and let me take it back. Yeah, 2009, I didn't have to register no more. The laws changed again a couple months after 2009 when the federal law overtook the state law, saying anybody that was exempt from registering had to re-register.
Yeah.
So I moved to Florida, didn't know anything about re-registering. I just knew that I got paperwork saying I was exempt, and they try to give me failure to register because I wasn't being non-compliant, but nobody's got in contact with me until afterwards.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I didn't know that the law changed. Nobody got in contact with me almost 5 years later.
Yeah.
And that put me back on probation, or as well as being a sex offender. And that's why we're fighting it right now.
Yeah.
So, but I know in my heart, I know in my spirit that I'm not that. But at the same time, if I was that, I'll still be up under the cell. This wouldn't have existed. I pushed myself to be better than what they try to title me as to be. And that's never me. It kills me because I dated hundreds of women. Don't get me wrong. I dated hundreds of women. And I'm not boasting, bragging about it. I'm just letting you know, I never had a situation or problem with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it feeds the purpose of, you want to punish me at 16, 17. I'm 56 years old.
Yeah.
Judge me between 17 and 56. What did I do between there when it comes to that type of life?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. You mentioned your support system, right? And I can attest that you have a lot of very prominent and powerful women of all colors
Right.
advocating on your behalf to get you removed from that registry, right?
Yes, sir.
And we'll hear from some of those people too as we, continue to build this podcast out. The Wolf of Ball Street. But talk to me, man, about trying to navigate your professional sports career with the stigma from being a registered sex offender and knowing that people, your peers, are whispering.
Well, with me, I just think I'm just built different, because you can't have thin skin when you're dealing with stuff like that, period. My peers, of course, they whisper. Some just be blunt out, just tell me, man, what's going on.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when you see things in the media, you quickly to believe it. Media gets it wrong too sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's been a perfect example of my situation with something else that happened.
Well, hold on. We talked about it a little bit, right, yesterday.
Right.
And we gonna, but talk about that right now, if you don't mind. What happened last year?
Oh man, so I was living in Florida, and I used to come back home to visit my mother, take care of her, just to hang out with my family and stuff. So one day, while we're doing my documentary of last year, my producer, he said, "Man, we need some footage from you where you grew up at." I said, "No problem." So me and my lady at the time, we went to my old elementary school on a Saturday, on a weekend. Nobody's at the school, and by law, a registered sex offender can't be 500 foot from a school. I'm so I wasn't on probation and like that, so but I'm always playing at different schools and different parks, so there was never an issue, never a problem with me. And even my probation officer at the time, before I got on probation, gave me passes to go play ball at the parks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I'm not gonna say I was comfortable, but it was just to me of the norm.
Yeah.
So I took pictures of my elementary school called Buddha Elementary. It's in St. Anne, Missouri. Sending it all to the documentary people. So as me and my lady was going towards my old house, so I'm in the car, and I got tinted windows, nice little ride I put together. So I'm sitting in the car and looking at like, damn, I'm reminiscent of the stuff that I used to do at the school. I mean, at my own neighborhood. I'm sorry. I'm saying, damn, I used to play kickball over here. I used to play catch a girl, get a girl over here, or we used to play hide and go seek over there, or we played baseball over here. So it's like reminiscing about being a kid. So I started taking pictures of my house. It's a townhouse, 3140 Glenwood Court.
Yeah.
So I'm taking pictures of it. No big deal. So I'm sending that all back to the documentary people.
Yeah.
So I take off, driving like maybe 5-10 miles an hour, just looking at how the houses got so small, or the whole neighborhood got so small. You just think like, dang, it's been almost 40 some years later. So my lady, her daughter, her name's I'm just gonna put it to you like this. This is my first time hearing about a drug called fentanyl.
Yeah.
So my lady's daughter, she died overdosed on a drug called fentanyl. Never heard of that drug in my life, and I heard it's a very popular drug
and powerful.
Yeah, because I'd never done drugs, never smoked in my life, so I'm a version of that. So when she passed away, my lady at the time, she's down. So you want to be there for her as her man, and just console her and all that stuff. So we went to the park just to walk our dogs, and just trying to make her feel better a little bit, because it's her and her daughter were best friends. So the guy that knew me that played ball, his name is Sergeant Boaz. He seen us walking back towards my car. He pulls up. He said, "What's up, Wolf?" I'm like, "What's up?" He said, "Well, you're not supposed to be at the park unless you're playing ball, unless you're umpiring. So it's already in my record, my files, that they know I play ball." And I wasn't doing either. I was just trying to, console my lady.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, I'm not going to give you a ticket. I'm not going to put a warrant out. I'm not going to arrest you. But I will tell you this. Do you know there's a stalking charge on your license plate?" I said, stalking charge? What do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean? He said, St. Anne Police Department put a stalking out on your license plate. I said, for what? He said, man, I don't know. He said, let me call St. Anne. He called St. Anne, but nobody, for some reason, they didn't answer the phone. He said, if I was you, I'll go straight to St. Anne and get it taken care of. I said, I'm finna go right now. So, like I said, I wasn't locked up. I didn't have no warrant out for my arrest, none of that stuff. So I went straight to St. Anne Police Department from leaving from the park.
Yeah.
That was February 7th. No, that's February 9th. I went to see the St. Anne Police Department. So, of last year, 2024. So I went inside and I asked the lady at the desk, said, somebody looking for Curtis Wilson. So she made a phone call and nothing was going on for about 10 minutes, man. So I'm like, look, I said, that's not normal. Why is it taking so long? So as a police officer was pulled up, I'm in one of those, the lobby area where you can see out, but they can't see him type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the officer, looking at my car. So she gets on the phone. The next thing she gets on her walkie-talkie. So she like this.
Yeah.
And I said, that's not a good sign. But she looking at my car at the same time.
Yeah.
So as soon as she walked into the building, 9 other police officers came out at the same time. So I'm like, hey, you stand up, you know, you know, we need to, you know, you're under arrest. I'm under arrest for what? And so the detective came out. This is a young guy. He gonna say, we just want to talk to you in the interrogation room. I said, I kept asking about it, I don't know, about 20 times. Who did I stalk?
Yeah.
That's all I kept asking. Who did I stalk?
Yeah.
He said, let's talk into the interrogation room. So we finally get into the interrogation room and everything's recorded.
Yeah.
Especially in the interrogation room. So I asked him, I said, man, who did I stalk? He said, he looked at me and told me, man, you didn't stalk anybody. We wanted to know, why were you at Buddha Elementary School? Why were you in St. Anne at Glenwood Court? I said, well, first of all, it's a free country. Second of all, I grew up in St. Anne and I'm doing a documentary. You said, well, we were told that you're supposed to follow some little girl from school.
Yeah.
I said, I couldn't follow anybody from school. It's on a weekend. And I was with somebody. You said, you know, this is reports that we got from the mother. I said, man, well, I said, she lying. He said, well, they say you took pictures of her. I took pictures of who? At the time, I didn't know if the girl was black, white, Chinese. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because my zone wasn't like that.
Yeah.
They said, well, can we see your phones? I said, man, I got 3 cell phones. You can see all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I gave them all my phones. They looked through it. They held my phones like about 4 or 5 days. And they went into the iClouds.
Yeah.
Didn't see no little girl in my phone. But they saw all the accomplishments I kept in my phone, or they saw all these different women I had in my phone. But it was nothing to hurt me to say there was any kids in my phone that's, you know, that can be predatory looking.
Yeah.
So that Thursday, I'm locked up. They got me under investigation. That Thursday, my lady at the time came up to the police station and spoke with Detective Rubin. Her first name is Rubin. I don't know her last name, but I can find out. And so they're having a girl talk conversation in the interrogation room. So my lady gonna tell the detective, I know what my gut's telling me, but what is your gut telling you? And the detective, out her own mouth, she said, I've been doing this for 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I don't believe Mr. Wilson followed no little girl, took pictures of no little girl.
Yeah.
So my lady's like, well, why y'all got him still locked up? She said, we waiting on what the prosecuting attorney wanted to do. They know I didn't do this.
Yeah.
They knew I didn't do this.
Yeah.
So the next thing I know, that Friday, I got sent to Clayton jail, county jail. And my bond at the time, oh man, my bond at the time was $50,000 cash, no 10%. And I'm like, for what? So all of a sudden they on the news.
Yeah.
I made the news, not even knowing that I'm on the news.
Yeah.
So when I got to Clayton, I called my brother. I said, man, just to check and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And he said, man, you know you on the news? I said, I'm on the news for what? They got you everything, you did all this crazy shit. I said, man, you gotta be kidding me. So St. Anne, Channel 4, threw me up under the bus bad. So I'm locked up for 11 days. My mouth is muted. Ain't nobody heard from me.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it's all across the country.
Yeah.
Man, Wolf did this, Wolf did that. So like I said before, if you was hating on me during my success in ball playing or my life, of course you're going to hate on me when you see an opportunity to really put me in the gutter.
Yeah. So
I go to court that Tuesday for a bond reduction hearing. I didn't have a lawyer at the time. So the judge at the time, she's going to say, well, these some serious allegations. And I told the judge, Judge, these some serious lies.
Yeah.
She said, well, we're going to have another bond reduction hearing Friday.
Yeah.
So I got me a lawyer. His name is Justice Summary. Everybody give him a call. He's a real good lawyer. And we went to court that Friday.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my bond went from $50,000 to $2,000. All of a sudden, the stalking stuff disappeared. All of a sudden, the whole dynamic just disappeared.
Yeah.
But the damage is done.
Yeah.
So I made bail, got out, and that's all I kept hearing. Man, what the fuck? So I'm like, I felt like public enemy number one.
Yeah.
I did. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
And people actually thought, man, maybe he did do this.
Yeah.
Because they the news people and the San Antonio Police Department really did me wrong.
Yeah.
So I said, no, I know me, so I'm finna fight.
Yeah.
I'm finna fight. So I called Channel 4, called Channel 2, and Channel 4 came to my house. We had a great 45-minute interview, but the dude named Justin Andrews from Channel 4, you did me wrong, man. You threw me up under the bus.
Yeah.
Bad. Okay. Channel 2 came back. They gave me an exclusive. Jeff from Channel 2, man, gave me justice.
Yeah.
Cleared my name.
An investigation determined evidence did not support a criminal charge. Fox News Chef Bernthal has more on the man's effort to clear his name.
I did not stalk nobody. I did not take no pictures of no little girl. I didn't follow nobody. And what I've been saying has been the truth the whole time.
Wilson was accused in February of following a girl near the St. Anne Elementary School he once attended, but was never charged. Wilson was jailed while police investigated. He is a registered sex offender. Wilson says that's because of a decades-old charge in the 1980s related to a relationship he had in high school with another student.
I didn't commit no other crime like that since I was 17. I'm 55 years old. Is it a death sentence? It shouldn't be.
Wilson has gone on to win softball championships and says he's a 3-time World Series Hall of Famer. He believes St. Anne police rushed to judgment. St. Anne police tell us they take these cases very seriously. And in this case, a child made a serious allegation that led to evidence Wilson was on school property, a violation of his sex offender status. Wilson did plead guilty to 2 misdemeanors for being within 500 feet of a school. He said that was during a weekend and was taking pictures for an upcoming documentary about his life.
I just want people to know I did not stalk nobody. I didn't, my case is closed.
Now Wilson is focused on trying to remove his name from the sex offender registry he feels can be misleading.
I know that I do qualify to petition the courts to get off, and I'm gonna do everything I can with me and my lawyers to see if we can make this work.
Back in February, Wilson was also accused of failing to properly register as a sex offender. St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office has since dismissed those accusations as well. Reporting from Clayton,
Did a
Jeff
great
Burton.
job on everything, and not just clearing my name, but letting people know everything that St. Anne said I didn't do.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, St. Anne want to start backpedaling, talking about, well, due to our components, we don't believe that Mr. Wilson followed no little girls. But I didn't do that the very first jump.
Yeah.
But after you see me keep fighting,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, because you didn't think I wasn't gonna fight, y'all just gonna sweep me on the rug. Say, okay, well we messed up his life. Let's get somebody else's life we can mess up.
Yeah.
Nah, I kept fighting.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing to do, a harder thing for me was when I had to go to Las Vegas go play ball. And this is another thing. Judge Cunningham, she's a sister in Clayton. She gave me permission to go out of town to play ball at a park.
Yeah.
While I'm out on bail with a GPS on my ankle. Make that make sense. Gave me permission to go. If I'm accused of all these things and you still give me permission to go because I didn't do this, then that should tell a lot of people what's really going on.
Yeah.
So we playing against my homeboys in the semifinals. This touched me to this day. After we beat them, we made a big circle. It was a reverend on that team said a special prayer for me. Everybody bowed their head. It was even people crying because they knew that I was dealt the wrong hand.
Yeah.
And the devil was really working on me, but God got me.
Yeah.
And that day, that there meant everything to me because they saw that I'm human, but at the same time, I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
And if I did something wrong, man, I said, man, throw away the key.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But nah, not even close. They fed off the narrative that happened in 1986.
Yeah.
They thought I was that dude.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that dude did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
But nah, that's what happened. And I got some good people in my corner, as you know, and we're gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking for people that got a voice.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are some people that deserve to be up under the gutter.
Yeah.
That throw away the key. But if you pee in a park and you can't make it to the Johnny on the spot and you get caught pee against a tree, you're considered a sex offender. You didn't know that, did you?
Yeah.
It's tricky to everything.
And you know, if you wind up on the sex registry, then people always go to the most negative aspects of what that means. And like you just said, you know, if you go hide and pee against a tree and somebody see you, a camera catch you, the police catch you, you got to get registered.
Yeah.
You got to get registered.
Yeah.
All right. So Wolf, you know, and you had such an interesting life. It's like it's like 3 pillars, foundational pillars, you know, kind of mark your journey in life, or the foundation of who you are. It's Wolf, the Hall of Fame athlete, right? It's Curtis, the registered sex offender.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now talk to me about that third aspect, that third pillar of your life.
It's gonna shock a lot of people because I never thought that I'll ever talk about this life anymore that I had.
Yeah.
But when I said earlier in this interview on this podcast that I lived 2 different lives in one body, I was a gangster disciple. At the time, I was called a black insane gangster disciple, which at the time I didn't know there was no such thing, but we were renegades until I got the truth of everything down the line. But I became that due to my brother having a situation of, you know, things that happened with him. And I was a ball player at the time. He got jumped, beat down by some guys my age. My brother was 12 at the time. By these guys like 17, 18, beat my brother down pretty bad. So that's how I was introduced to it. But at the same time, had a situation. I used to hang with the disciples because we stayed in the disciple neighborhood. But the reason why I hung with those guys, because they play ball.
Yeah.
You know, we always playing corks ball, basketball, so they just have to be athletes as well.
Yeah.
So that was our connection.
Yeah.
And one day, me and a guy named Marvin Bird, you know, he just got into a little trouble, but, you know, hanging there, my brother. We were hanging out together. He's probably the one I was hanging out with the most before I became GD.
Yeah.
And because he was very competitive in sports. So it was like that rivalry, but in a good way.
Yeah.
We pushed each other.
Yeah.
So it was this dude named Chris Williams, tall, lanky dude, long curl. We went to junior high school together and a little bit of high school together.
Yeah, I was rocking them curls down here.
Man, back in the 80s, of course. I think you had a curl probably then.
Nah, I ain't had no hair. I've been bald since I was 19.
Man, I had that ready for the world curl. I messed up a lot of pillow sheets, a lot of faces on it. I messed up a whole lot of things with those, man. My shit stayed wet, but it looked good.
Yeah, my fault. My fault. Go ahead. I can let that go.
But anyway, I see we in Castle Point. I saw him at a Velvet Ice Cream Parlor. And the thing is, we really never got along, but we never really said nothing to each other in high school or junior high.
Yeah.
But for this particular day, he I guess he was feeling himself and said some words that he shouldn't have said. And I said what I said, and just me and Bird, we jumped him, beat him pretty bad in the ice cream parlor. So that was during the day and the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I hung out with the GDs on a street called Royal in Castle Point. We hung out all day. So that night came, and 4 carloads of people pulled up in front of us. And it's like about 30 or 40 GDs already in the streets, just hanging out, just talking. There's some probably shooting dice, some, you know, drinking, some probably talking to women, whatever. We just hanging out. So when they all got out the car, the first 3 carloads was all dudes. But the last carload was all women. I'm like, that's what caught my attention, because I love women. So, and at 20 years old, 21 years old, I was like, man, you know. But I seen Chris get out the car with these GDs. So that caught I refocused on him, like, what are he doing? What's he doing here?
Yeah.
So at the time, Andre Hogan, they called him Rush. He was the leader of the GDs then, under the BIGD Nation. And him and Big Pimp, the guy that became one of my right hand men. Big Pimp rode with Chris rode with Big Pimp.
Yeah.
So they all get out the car. So I see Big Pimp and Drake. They they greet each other, GD love and all that. So I'm just watching, but I'm watching Chris like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I asked Bird. I said, "Well, Bird, he GD?" Bird said, "No, he ain't GD because if he was GD, we wouldn't have jumped him."
Yeah.
So Sean gonna say, "Hey, who was Dirty Curtis?" So I'm looking around, I'm looking at my shoulder. I ain't dirty. What the hell he talking about? But there was another guy named Dirty Curtis that lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I know he wasn't talking about me. So Chris said, "No, that's him right there." They pointed at me, and so Pimp was like, he said, "Y'all jumped him." So Bird was like, "Yeah, we jumped him." But Bird and Pimp, they GDs.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking they having a conflict, but they brothers.
Yeah.
So Pimp like, I think they need to go ahead and do what they need to do. So like I said, Pimp didn't know me.
Yeah.
But we ended up being best of friends afterwards.
Yeah.
And so Dre, he was like, "Nah, he said that's cause we all gonna get down." So like Dre was an insane gangster type dude, and he'll fight your own brother if you think something ain't right.
Yeah.
That's how he was.
Yeah.
So Chris said something smart to Dre. So Dre started walking towards Chris, said, "One, you don't know me." And as he kept walking on Chris, I think Dre was gonna steal him. But he said, "Two, if you knew me, you wouldn't be talking that shit."
Yeah.
And three, that's when Dre was gonna steal him. So they pulled Dre off Chris.
Yeah.
So Dre asked me, "Say you want to fight him?" I said, "I'll fight him one-on-one."
Yeah.
So both of us got long curls. It's in the summertime. It's hot as hell. Girl juice all in my eyes and stuff. So we started banging. Chris was a tall Tommy Hearns type dude.
Yeah.
And I was, he was taller than me, but I was strong.
Yeah.
So we started banging, and I was getting the best of with my hands.
Yeah.
So one of his guys threw him a pole.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Hey, Bird, throw me my bat." So he threw me my corkball bat. So
Yeah.
me and my brother, as we were young, we took karate and all this stuff, and I was pretty good with the stick. So I started twirling it like the baton and stuff. So everybody, what the hell going on? So we started banging, and we cracking.
Yeah.
He probably hit me maybe once or twice, but I hit him in the head and the face.
Yeah.
And it was all blood on my shirt. I had a white T-shirt with a muscle arm posed on it. It had no pain, no gain on my shirt.
Yeah.
My blood was all red, and none of it was my blood.
Yeah.
So somebody shot a gun or something, and police came, but the shooting had nothing to do with us. It was in the background somewhere. So everybody burnt out, and when the police got there, so when the police had looked at me, he seen all this blood on me. He said, "What happened to you?" I said, I tripped."
Yeah.
So he knew I was lying. So one thing led to another. That dispersed. So Dre and the folks, they all got together. Like, "Man, Wolf, what's up?"
Yeah.
I said, "Man, you don't have to say no more, man. I want to be part of the organization."
Yeah.
Say, "What I got to do?"
Yeah.
He said, "You done it."
Yeah.
And I became GD the summer of '88, and that's how it started. That's how I was introduced to it. So I went from a tall to a enforcer to a chief enforcer, and then I went to prison for violating my probation. I beat up an undercover cop, a Florissant cop, who was portraying to be a blood, but I just thought he was a gang member, and that violated my probation. And I thought he was trying to pull a gun out on me, but he's really pulling out the badge to let me know who he was. It was at the White Cow lot off Lindbergh in Florissant. So that sent me to prison. I went to prison for 3.5 years, 40 months, 1,218 days, however you want to break it down.
Yeah.
Then I came, but during that time, my name was getting bigger and bigger. And I got out, I went to prison in '89 and got out in '92. And when I got out, that's, the GDs made me the leader of North County. And that day, I got out October of '92. That's the day I came home.
Yeah.
And it was like, when I left to go to prison in '89, it was maybe, I'll say about 300 GDs in Castle Point or that area. But when I came home, it was about 1,000.
Yeah.
And we had the big meeting, and I was the head guy of North County in '92.
Yeah.
And that's before I became the governor of all of Missouri.
How many people?
In '93, when I became blessed as the governor, when the Chicago folks came down, senior board member G. Sharp and Gator made me the head GD of Missouri, which was over 4,000 members.
Wow. Wow. So what about gang culture, or in particular, this gang culture drew you in? Because I know you were an athlete. You know, your mom was showing you and your brother, you know, the way to be men. You know, she was succeeding at erasing that whole, as your brother said it when the first day I met him, whoever said that a woman can't teach boys how to be men was wrong.
Right.
So she was doing that.
Yeah.
And you had all of this in front of you, right?
Right.
You had the stigma attached to your name.
Right.
But the majors looked at the case and saw what it was and said this was two high school kids that had a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
We still want him in our organization.
Right.
And knowing that was there for you, what drew you to GD?
Brotherhood, structure, loyalty.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a big brother. It was just me and my younger brother.
Yeah.
So I looked at some of these guys, majority of the guys older than me, and I looked at them as big brothers, but they respect me for being a powerful young dude.
Yeah.
Not just physicality, but knowledgeable wise.
Yeah.
And through all that, you know, I still stood my grounds, and don't get me wrong. I don't want to use the word haters. I don't want to even use the word people being spiteful.
Yeah.
You just got people that's not understanding the truth about things in life. But the old sigma is, you know, all GDs are not your GDs, all Bloods are not your Bloods, all Crips are not your Crips. Even the great ones got killed by their own kind. Malcolm X, Shaka Zulu, Martin Luther King was set up by black people to the white people for the federal.
Yeah.
So it goes on and on. So once you're a target, and you know, jealousy and envy is a powerful thing, because that becomes your number one enemy.
Yeah.
And that's how things have turned out with, you know, certain things when it came to GD. Stories about, you know, Wolf made up fake literature, or Wolf was hiding from the GDs. None of that stuff is true.
Yeah.
That's why I said I've been muted for 40 years, and you finally get to hear from me. And like I said, I got receipts.
Yeah.
Never made no fake literature. I never touched Chicago rules and regulations. We live here in St. Louis. We had our own St. Louis rules and regulations, but we still studied the blueprint from Chicago. Chicago never had Crips and Blood problems. We did.
Yeah.
So I made up codes for us to talk without talking.
I was about to ask you about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk to me how your baseball world
Yeah.
and your gang culture world came together.
Well, I took a positive towards a negative. What I mean by that is, you know, playing baseball, you know, a third base coach is always talking with his hands and stuff to the batter so he can communicate. I did the same thing with my GD brothers, you know, talking with the hands and making up codes. You know, I'm not going to say the numbers, but because I'm not trying to get out that information, breaking the silence and secrecy of everything.
Right.
But the codes that I made up back in the 90s, they're still using those codes to this day. So that's the only thing I ever did. So if you call that fake literature, then I can't. Why are you still using that type of codes? Because it's helpful. It helps. But when it comes to AR 804, Chicago Rules and Regulation, I never touched the blueprint. Never. So I'm not worried about that part.
Let me ask you this question. You started at the bottom, made it all the way to the top in this state, right? Why'd you leave?
I felt death upon me, first of all. And that wasn't even a part about somebody trying to kill me. I felt upon me when I was just sleeping. And I just felt a big black of cloud over my shoulder in my sleep. And I just felt like, you know what, it's time. I did all I could because we were in a good place when it comes to GD, growth and development.
Yeah.
And the structure is organization structure. So my assistant governor or whoever is supposed to take charge while I stepped away.
Yeah.
So it took discipline, but at the same time, you got to want to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because I am going to say I wanted a better life. And gang culture, especially now, it's so crazy, it's so impulsive, and it's beyond the wild wild west. Um, but I did what I had to do for myself to make myself a better life for my future, and that's what I did.
Yeah, and we ain't gonna tell all the stories today, but we're gonna tell a lot of stories as we get down through this podcast.
Right.
I think it's safe to say that you've gotten second chances.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You were elite athlete, right? And I'm just like to recap periodically.
Gotcha.
Navigating, being on the sex registry. You were governor of the state of Missouri for the Gangster Disciple Nation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you found success in softball when baseball was no longer viable, right?
Right.
Because of injury, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about why is it important? Why is second chances important to Wolf and to Curtis?
Because I'm living the second half of my life at 56, and I have so much knowledge, so much love, so much support to give back to others that needs to hear this story. Um, don't get me wrong. I've been through the gutter. I've been in Potosi Penitentiary, and I'm a kid at the time. Well, since it's just 5 years in prison, but they sent me to a place where it's life without parole, death row inmates, and life plus 50. I'm 20, 21 years old going to a prison like that. And the trials and tribulation that I had to navigate myself through all that, it made me stronger, but it made me, I'm not going to use the word dangerous, but it made me more reliable what I need to do to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see the pitfalls. I see it. And what these kids going on doing now, man, it's Herculaneum terrible. I mean, it's there's no word for it because it's like they have no guidance, like they're having a mental relapse.
Yeah.
And the only time I think they get some act right is after the fact they in prison.
Yeah.
They want to become a Christian. They want to start praying. They want to start crying. But they're not thinking about that right now as they hit these streets with these guns and these swishers and whatever else is out here. Because like I said, I left that alone a long time ago, and these kids they're more dangerous, and that's sad.
Yeah.
Because there's not to me, if it was up to me, I'll grab 20 of the worst kids I can find. I'll of course take away their cell phones and everything else and just put them in a place where people need to hear them speak. People that's gatekeepers need to hear these kids speak. Give these opportunities for these kids. Let them speak. We're always talking to them. Let them talk to us.
Yeah.
Reverse it one time and see what happens.
Yeah.
I bet you we get a better communication because if they say something that we need to do, we old enough and mature enough to say, okay, this is what they're gonna do. This is what they need us to do.
Yeah.
This is gonna keep them off the streets
Yeah.
because we're listening to what they want.
Yeah.
Why should we turn our back on that?
So, welcome to the Wolf of Ball Street podcast. Or I should say, welcome back to the Wolf of Ball Street podcast. And in this segment, we're going to talk to Mr. Darius Boyd. I'm not going to try to go into, all of his credentials and why he's important to this first episode of this podcast. But I'm going to let him tell you guys who he is and where we are. As you can see, we're sitting at home plate on baseball/softball field somewhere in America. And it's very relevant to Wolf's story. And so we decided to do this segment out in the world. So you're going to hear, the sounds of nature and the world moving on. But
Mr. Boyd, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
You look good today.
All right. Thank you.
Going to the baseball game later. Huh?
Yes, I am.
All right.
See the sorry part display.
Hopefully the Cardinals will have a better season next year.
Next year, yeah.
All right. Mr. Boyd, if you don't mind, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Okay. My name is Darius Boyd Sr. I was a probation parole officer for almost 25 years for the state of Missouri. I also was 6 years as a correctional officer and many more years as a substitute teacher in both Missouri and the Illinois side. So I spent my entire adult life as a public servant.
Yeah.
And also coaching middle school, Corey League baseball, grade school basketball, and middle school basketball as well.
Okay. And in your capacity as a parole officer, you had the opportunity to meet Curtis Wilson.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk to me about that?
Okay. Back in 2004, I was a sex offender officer for the state of Missouri probation and parole. And Wolf was put on my caseload, and I supervised him from 2004 to 2007.
Okay.
And that's my first introduction.
And in that time, you got to know him pretty well.
Yes, I did. From the very first day, prior to him coming into my office, you always want to go over the case file to see what the person has done, why they're a sex offender. And most of the times, 99.9% of the time when you read that case file regarding a sex offender, it's going to be disturbing to you. But when I read his file, I was confused. I was like, why is this guy on my case? So I'm like, maybe there's something going on that I don't know. I'll find out through the interview process with him, And so nothing you want to do before you meet someone when you supervise them, you want to look at things you may have in common with them, it's a common ground. And so I see he had baseball in his background, as well as I know I had baseball in my background. Prior to that, I was a baseball coach, played baseball, stuff like that. I said, so I figured we'll talk about some baseball when he came into my office, things like that. So.
And in reading his file, what did you see? What did you find?
I found he was being labeled as a sex offender because he had a statutory rape. I think he was 17 years old. He had sex with his 14-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
And that's how he became a registered sex offender.
Yeah. Yeah. And, a lot of, when I got introduced to the situation, and I discussed this with Wolf, I had to do my due diligence and read and make sure because, I got daughter, I got a mama, I got aunties, and, like you said, a lot of times you see this stuff and it's disturbing, right? But under the laws in which he was found guilty, it's a law. We all be in jail.
Yes, that's correct. A lot of people.
My parents encouraged, us to not be sexually active in high school, but that's not the reality of what's going on in America. But under the law, if you in high school, it's 14 in Missouri. In Illinois, it's 17. You can't consent until you're 18.
That's correct.
So every person in high school that's sexually active, male and female, can be found guilty under the law in which he was convicted of, right?
Yeah.
And so, you knowing the law and reading the case file, what was your opinion of him, if I can ask that question?
Okay, I knew he was guilty of the offense under the law he was guilty of the offense, and so my job at that point is he's not to judge him based on what he's done. My job is to try to get him off, get him through his parole supervision successfully.
Yeah.
And when you get someone, so I want to try to gain his trust. Yeah. Because when you're a probation parole officer, a lot of times when the people under your caseload, they don't trust you. They think your job, my job, is to get them sent to jail. And so I looked at him, and so Curtis came into my office, we talked, and then eventually we got around talking about baseball and stuff like that. And I was looking through his case file, other previous convictions or whatever. Nothing really stood out. And so I gained empathy from him from day one because I didn't look at him as a hardcore criminal, and he's very, very respectful to me, like, Mr. Boyd, Mr. Always, right, they still call Mr. Boyd. And so moving forward, he had just started his softball career, professional softball career. And so he was always in compliance. Every time he came into my office, he was always on time. He never tested positive for drugs and alcohol. And so being in compliance, I was able to give him travel permits to travel all over the country to play softball. And so I watched his softball career grow. Like I said, I already started prior to him being on my supervision, but no problem giving him travel permits to go to Las Vegas, Florida, wherever, New York, wherever he needed to go. And I just watched his career blossom. And like I say, he never gave me any problems. And had he been eligible for early discharge, I would have put him in for early discharge. But by him being a registered sex offender, you're not eligible for early discharge. And so he got off supervision in 2007. So he was under my supervision for 3 years. No problems at all. And then also, one important tool we use with a sex offender officer is a polygraph test, lie detector test. That's something you have to take once a year if you're a sex offender. And he passed all three of those, no problem. So, and they always told me one of the things about sex offenders, they're extremely manipulative. That's why we use that tool, polygraph test. But so he passed everything, flying colors, no problems. So
There's a stigma, right, that goes with being on the having to register as a sex offender, right? Um, and people, you can get on that list by urinating in a park, right? And as I research and understand the law, right? So then, how many more people should be on the list if they got caught by camera or
yeah,
police officer? But you know, is it? Can you ever shake the stigma?
you can under the law. Certain it depends on what level they got you labeled as a sex offender.
Yeah,
You can get off, but it's easy to get on, but it's hard to get off. And Wolf is a very very rare case. When you consider he caught this case when he's at the age of 17. Fast forward all these years later, 40 some years later, almost 40 years later, he's still being registered as a sex offender. And this complicates his life because everywhere he goes, any city, town, he has to register with the police department. He can't live his life. So it's paramount to having a life sentence. Everywhere he goes, he has to register. Even though he hasn't had a sex offense prior to his conviction or after his conviction. But he has this label on him, this tag on him that he can't shake, no matter what he does. And it's unfortunate.
Let me ask you a question. Um, and this is a question that I had. Like, why are you here? Why is it important for you to speak up now and say something, about his case?
Because Curtis and I, we became friends after he got off supervision. And like I said, I always had empathy for him. I'm like, this man's not a registered sex offender. I just put in my mind, can you imagine how many seniors in high school had sex with freshmen in high school
Absolutely.
during that time, even today?
Yeah.
But they're not registered sex offenders. Not to say it's right or wrong, but to have sex like that, and then to travel with you throughout your life is terrible. So I always had empathy for him. So when he was in Florida playing softball, he would always call me and check on me. When he came to St. Louis, he would stop into the office and check on me and stuff like that. Not asking for anything. Just hey, Mr. Boyd, how you doing? And then so a few times I wrote letters to judges trying to ask that he be exempt from the sex offender registration. I gave my opinion why I didn't think he was a sex offender, but to no avail. And I just never understood that. I wrote several letters to judges in Florida, in Missouri, and nobody never get a positive response. Matter of fact, they wouldn't even respond to my letter.
Wow. I think it's an important time right now because I have four sons, right, and a nephew who I raised like a son. So in my mind, I got five boys, right, and I would have to have almost monthly conversations about being careful because they were all athletes, and unfortunately, it's almost like it's a cliche, right? The athlete, the allegation ruins your life, and and for the rest of your life, you're fighting. There's a guy. I lived in California for almost 20 years. I raised my kids out there. And there's a guy, his name is Brian Bates. I think I got it right. His name is Brian Bates. He was top linebacker in the country at Long Beach Poly. And he caught a rape allegation in his senior year in high school. He was going to USC. I think he was the number one football player in the country at the time. And it ruined his life. He spent almost a decade in jail before it came out that it was a lie, right? And I think what I read about this case that kind of stuck out to me was that you got a arguably the best baseball player in the state of Missouri, right? Whole life ahead of him. He's 16 at the time he meets his girlfriend. They walk the same corridors in high school. She a freshman, he a junior, right? She's 13 at the time. I want to make sure we say that. And she's white, and she's he's on this registry now, and he's on it. And that was always a fear of mine. One of the fears that I had raising boys. As a parole officer, you saw a lot of people who deserve to be on that list underneath the jail somewhere or whatever.
Yes.
And you've already stated that you never felt like that was Wolf, right? So somebody in his situation, in your professional opinion, is there a way to get off the list?
Yes, it is. You have to have good representation, first of all, as a lawyer. That's one of the main problems, reasons why Wolf is in the position he is now. He had poor representation as a lawyer. First of all, he should never been certified. Should have been certified as an adult before he even got the conviction.
Yeah.
He was only 16, 17.
Yeah.
And he had poor representation all the way around. So if you ever get in that position, number one thing is get you a good lawyer.
Yeah. Now I'll protect the integrity, and if we, both you and I have heard from very reputable judges, and I won't say their name. If they want to talk about it on camera, they can. But they pretty much said exactly what you just said. That if he would have had better representation, and maybe a more fair-minded judge, wouldn't be in this position right now. Who knows where it would have been?
You think about this here. I supervised during my career almost 2,000 people. Probably. I've never seen anybody who got treated the way he's been treated. Because, like I said, he's like a life sentence. I've supervised people who were on for murder, and once they did their time, it was off. They were done. It didn't follow them everywhere they go. They had the freedom to move. Curtis doesn't have the freedom to move. He can't go to parks and stuff without prior permission. And it's just sad. Sad situation. I say it's amazing he's been able to accomplish all the things he's been able to accomplish with that cloud hanging over his head.
That's one of the things that struck me as I read into his story and looked into the details of his case and then his life. And like I said in the previous segment, I know a lot of people, like I've heard his story without knowing who he was, because I have family that's heavily involved in softball culture. I have a family that's involved in some of the that were previously involved in some of the other areas of his life that we talked about in different segments of this podcast. But when you look at it and you just see how easy it is for it to be any of us.
Yes.
That's the thing that's scary for me, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I agreed to say, okay, let me get on board and see what I can do to get the information out, right? As we, and I appreciate you coming today. And as we wrap up, this segment of it, is there anything you'd like to share? Anything you'd like to say?
Yes. About 3 years ago now, Curtis called me. I think he was in the process of moving back up here from Florida, and his stature in the community was steadily growing. He had his own signature bat that was being sold in the stores, and so he said, "Mr. Boyd," he said, "how can I get my case closed? Because there's a lot of haters out there. People going to be throwing darts at me, when they see me getting all this positive publicity and everything." And I said, "Curtis," I said, "no, I said, no, you don't want your case closed. You want your story open up to the world.
Yeah.
I say, the person that you are now, I said, you can motivate a lot of people. You have nothing to be ashamed of now as an adult. And what you did as a teenager, as a kid.
Yeah.
Look at everything you've accomplished since then.
Yeah.
I said, your story needs to be told.
Yeah.
And so with that, I told him, let me look into seeing how I can get this maybe into a documentary. So I contacted my cousin who works with Andre.
Yeah.
And that's how the documentary series started to kick off.
Yeah.
That's where Brett started. It was born from that day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so my main thing is this right here. If nothing else comes out of these documentaries, hope someone out there could get him off the registration, so he can live the rest of his life without having to look over his shoulder, have to go to every police station, every city and town he go to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. And speaking of police, I almost forgot. I'm glad you brought that up. Would you talk to me about what happened with St. Anne last year from your perspective?
Yes, okay. So Curtis was part of the documentary. He was riding around, taking pictures and videos of his grade school where he first started playing baseball at. And this little girl was walking through as he was taking pictures. It was on a Saturday. It wasn't a school day. And so she looked at him taking pictures, and she thought he was taking pictures of her. He's with his girlfriend. Anyway, so they moseyed on down the road, and they went to his old home, his old house, and was taking pictures of his old house, not knowing that the little girl who just walked past them stayed next door to his old house. So she ran into the house and told her mom that this man was following me and taking pictures of her. So I can't blame her at the time because that's what she thought. Anyway, St. Anne police ended up arresting him and got him for stalking. Held him without bail or whatever for three weeks. I didn't know where he was at. I didn't know anything about it. And they charged him with a felony for being on school ground. They dropped the stalking charge, but they kept it being on the school ground. And this is not even fair. You're on the school ground on a Saturday, nobody's there. Who are you a threat to?
Yeah.
And they put him on probation for that.
And as I understand it was intentional. Waited till the weekend.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have any incidents and stuff like that. Like I say, I've spent my entire adult life as a public servant. If I thought for 1 second, Kevin, that Curtis was a threat to our community, our kids, I wouldn't be backing him.
Sure.
But there's no threat there. And in fact, a few years ago, he came out and spoke to one of my baseball teams, School League baseball team. Showed him his rings, his bat, and they was all impressed. And they talked about it. He inspired those kids. And so Curtis is inspiration to our community. He does nothing but promote goodwill, but he still has that cloud hanging over his head. So that's the main thing I want to come out of this year, getting them off sex offender registration.
Well, I appreciate you coming out here.
All right.
Thank
nice
you very
meeting you,
much.
man.
It's very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
It's Darren's boy. He's a strong advocate for Curtis Wolf Wilson. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you sharing your experiences with him and in his life and your opinions. And, we're going to see where this goes.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Have
right.
a blessed day.
You too, man.
I got a lot of work up on my plate, and I'ma get it all till the clock stops ticking. Forget the pain of yesterday, and show the story in the how you are. Wake up and go get it, live life with no limits. Every time they put me in a box, I bust it down. Too much time up on the clock, so I'ma bust it down. Ain't no waiting for the moment, cause the time is now. I'm with my brothers like Malcolm and Newton, and we split the racks in the middle. Big bro, you been ballin', so we was just tallest, it ain't no ceilings. These girls in the library, they looking for love, it ain't no feelings. Searching for warmth in my heart, but lately it feel like the middle of winter. Every time I get back up, they wanna let me down. My granny asked me why I put that smoke up in the clouds. They always ran woke, but they be sleeping, no one's round. Just maintain focus, keep my knees upon the ground. I put my soul and my heart in this. The clouds that left us in darkness, yeah. But I knew what it was when I started it, yeah. So now there ain't no turning back, I ain't got time to lack. I gotta get to the racks, and I cannot deny, I gotta keep it a G.